If you were buying your first sewing machine in 2026, don't ask, what's the best sewing machine? Ask, what do I actually need it for? This video covers sewing machines for every type of sewing needs. Of course, with beginners in mind. Some beginners only need simple repairs and basic sewing. Others want to work with denim, quilting, or even embroidery. Choosing the wrong machine usually means replacing it sooner than expected. The smartest beginner purchase is the one that saves you from buying twice. This list is based on real beginner needs, ease of use, and long-term value, so you can choose the right machine the first time. And if you want to check prices or buy any of these machines, all the product links are in the description below. So let's count down the top 5 best sewing machines for beginners in 2026, starting with number 5. At number 4, the Singer Heavy Duty 4452 is the best beginner sewing machine for heavy fabrics. And this is where I usually tell buyers to be brutally honest with themselves about what they plan. Because if your Pinterest board is full of denim projects, canvas, tote bags, curtain panels, upholstery, fixes, or heavy home decor work, a lightweight beginner machine is probably going to disappoint you. This is where people often waste money. They buy a cheaper machine first because it seems safer, then realize it struggles with the exact projects they wanted most. Then they upgrade anyway. Well, that's not saving money, that is buying twice. If heavier fabrics are part of your plan from the beginning, the Singer 4452 is usually the smarter first purchase. Its stronger motor is the main reason. It handles denim, canvas, thicker seams, and multiple layers much better than standard lightweight beginner machines. That extra power matters because struggling with skipped stitches and stalled fabric can make beginners think they were the problem when really it's the machine. It offers 32 built-in stitches, which is enough variety without becoming overly complicated. It stays mechanically simple, and a lot of beginners actually prefer that. Less menu navigation, fewer digital settings, just direct sewing. The automatic needle threader helps. The top drop-in bobbin keeps things visible, and the stainless steel bed plate helps fabric move more smoothly, especially heavier material. The speed is also worth mentioning, up to 1,000 stitches per minute. That sounds like a small spec detail, but on bigger projects it makes a real difference. The metal frame also gives it better stability and durability, which matters if you plan to use it regularly for years. Now, the trade-off is that it's heavier, louder, and less portable. This is a machine you casually move around every weekend. It feels more like a workhorse. So my recommendation here is simple. If your sewing life starts with thick fabric, start with a machine built for thick fabric. The 4452 saves beginners from the frustration of forcing the wrong machine to do the wrong job. And number 3, the Brother CS7000X is the best computerized sewing machine for beginners, and this is the machine I usually recommend for people who already know they were serious about learning and want something they can grow into, not just grow out of. There are 2 kinds of beginner buyers. One wants the simplest possible machine. The other says, I know I'm going to stick with this, so I'd rather buy smarter now. If you are the second person, this machine makes a lot of sense. It comes with 70 built-in stitches, but more importantly, it organizes those features in a way that still feels beginner-friendly. The LCD display and computerized controls actually reduce confusion for a lot of people, because you were selecting stitches clearly instead of manually adjusting everything and hoping it's right. One feature I strongly value for beginners is adjustable speed control. Confidence matters when learning, and being able to slow the machine down helps people focus on technique instead of panic sewing through fabric. Start-stop button is another underrated feature, especially for beginners who feel awkward with foot pedal control at first. It lets you focus on guiding fabric instead of managing speed with your foot immediately. The automatic needle threader, drop-in bobbin, and fixed needle bar all improve the beginner experience by reducing small frustrations and improving stitch consistency. That's important because clean results help beginners trust themselves faster. It also includes 10 presser feet, which gives you real flexibility, zippers, buttonholes, quilting, monogramming, and more without feeling like you need upgrades right away. And the included wide table is especially valuable if quilting is even a small future goal. It's quieter than many heavy-duty models and still lightweight enough for easier storage. Now, if you mainly sew thick denim, I'd still point you toward the Singer. But if your goal is everyday sewing, garments, home projects, and a machine that feels modern and flexible, the CS7000X is one of the best long-term beginner decisions you can make. At number 2, the Brother SE700 is the best beginner sewing and embroidery machine. And this one comes down to a very specific buyer question. Are you curious about embroidery, or are you genuinely planning to do it? Because those are two very different buying decisions. If embroidery is just a maybe, I usually tell people not to overspend. But if you already know you want to personalize gifts, create monograms, decorate baby clothes, make custom projects, or turn sewing into something more creative than basic construction, buying a combined machine from the start often makes far more financial sense. Otherwise, most people buy a standard sewing machine first, then realize 6 months later they need a second machine. That gets expensive fast. The SE700 solves that by combining both functions in one machine. You get over 100 sewing stitches and 335 built-in embroidery designs, so there's real flexibility right away. The color touchscreen makes a big difference because embroidery can feel intimidating fast. Beginners need visual clarity, and being able to preview designs before stitching reduces mistakes and wasted fabric. The wireless connectivity is another practical upgrade because transferring designs is much easier than older embroidery systems that feel unnecessarily complicated. The 4x4-inch embroidery field is also the right size for beginners. Some buyers think bigger is always better, but larger embroidery areas often create more complexity than value at the start. For names, logos, gifts, and personalized home items, this size is practical and manageable. The automatic needle threader, speed control, and beginner-friendly setup keep the sewing. It's simple, while the included embroidery accessories help justify the higher price. Now, I would only recommend this machine if embroidery is truly part of your plan. If not, you're paying for features you won't use. But if embroidery is part of your real intent, this is often the smarter long-term investment because buying one good machine is better than replacing one later. And at number 1, the Janome 420 QDCT is the best overall beginner sewing machine for quilting and long-term use because it solves the biggest problem serious beginners face: buying a starter machine. That feels like a compromise. This is the machine I did recommend to someone who says, I want to learn properly, I want something reliable, and I don't want to upgrade again next year. That mindset matters because sometimes spending a little more once is much cheaper than spending less twice. The Janome 420 QDCT feels less like a beginner machine and more like a machine you happen to begin with. And that's exactly why it ranks first. It comes with 120 built-in stitches, including utility stitches, decorative patterns, quilting functions, and alphabet stitching. That means your skills can grow without the machine becoming the limitation. But what really makes it number 1 is how balanced it feels. It has advanced capability without feeling overwhelming. The LCD screen is clear, the controls are intuitive, and beginners usually settle into it faster than expected. The included extension table is a major win for quilting beginners because workspace matters more than most people realize. Quilting on a cramped machine is frustrating, and this helps solve that from day one. The automatic thread cutter, speed slider, needle threader, start-stop button, and lock, which function are the kinds of features people underestimate until they use them. They make sewing smoother, faster, and far less frustrating. The stitch quality is excellent, and the machine feels stable, refined, and built to last. That consistency matters because beginners learn faster when the machine feels dependable instead of unpredictable. It handles quilting beautifully, works well for garment sewing, and supports serious long-term use across multiple project types. Yes, it costs more upfront, and yes, that matters. But if quilting is part of your goal, or if you already know sewing is something you want to stay with long term, this is often the most financially responsible choice because it prevents the upgrade cycle that cheaper machines often create. That's why it takes the number 1 spot. At the end of the day, the best beginner sewing machine is about finding the best model. It's about finding the right match for your real life. If you need affordable basics, go with the Brother XM2701. If heavy fabrics are your priority, the Singer 4452 is the smarter buy. If you want computerized flexibility, the Brother CS7000X gives excellent long-term value. If embroidery is already part of your plan, the Brother SE700 makes much more sense than buying twice. And if you want the strongest overall investment for quilting and serious long-term sewing, the Janome 4120 QDCT is the best overall choice. The goal is to buy the fanciest machine. It's to buy the one you will still be happy with a year from now. That's the decision that actually saves money.